All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session this evening. We're so excited to have you here. And it looks like we have a bunch of visitors joining our room. So we're going to give it just a couple minutes for everybody to get situated and get joined in. Awesome. Okay, and as you're joining the session, this session is about our housing and dining options, and you'll learn a little bit more about each of those aspects throughout this presentation and throughout the session this evening. If you have any questions about housing and dining at USciences, you should type them into the chat or into the Q&A. We're going to be addressing those throughout the presentation and also at the end after the presentations, after the slideshows. So I'm just going to give it one more minute for everyone to join in. We have a really great group joined in here so far. So welcome to the session. And my name is Elise Todderud. Some of you may recognize me. I'm a member of USciences Admissions team. So if you have any admission related questions, I can definitely tackle those as well. Okay, so we have a really great group here. And again, thank you all so much for joining us. So this is a webinar. Your video and your mic is going to be muted and your video is going to be off throughout this session, but you can engage with us by texting in your questions to the chat feature or typing them into the Q&A section. So make sure you get all your questions answered by the end of our session today. So I think we can go ahead and get started. So at this point, what I'd like to do is introduce our two special guests that we have here. So first, I'd like to introduce Dominic Viola, and he is our Director of Residence Life at USciences, and he's going to be giving some more information about housing at the university. And then we also have Todd, who is a member of our Sodexo team. He is the General Manager of Sodexo at USciences, and he's going to be talking more about the dining options at USciences as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So Dominic, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Elise, and good evening, everyone. I'm excited that you're here. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Okay. Can everybody see that okay? All right. As Elise said, my name is Dominic Viola. I'm the Director of Residence Life at University of the Sciences. We are so excited that you're interested in attending USciences and interested in living on campus. Tonight, I'm just going to provide a really brief overview of housing, and I look forward to also taking any of your questions that you may have throughout or at the end. I'm just going to jump kind of right into the most important part, and probably the thing that's on everybody's mind is, where would I live if I were on campus at USciences? The vast majority of new students every year live in the Living and Learning Commons, which was built and opened in 2019, in January 2019. It is a 426 bed, 128,000 square foot facility. So it actually probably looks even larger than it sounds, if you can believe that. The standard room type in the Commons is a double room with private bathroom. So they're nice, spacious rooms. They have the bathroom right in the room, which is really exciting. Many of our guests and students, when they walk in for the first time, kind of describe the Living and Learning Commons as if it feels like a hotel. It really does have that kind of impression when you walk in. Some of the other amenities in the LLC are smart laundry amenities on each floor. So you can actually download an app on your smartphone and see which machines are in use. And it also can notify you when your cycle is done, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of student lounge and study spaces. And at USciences, we can never have enough study spaces on campus. And I would say the Living and Learning Commons probably has the most in one space, if that's a consideration for you. And then, of course, there's some multi-use classrooms in the LLC, and there is a first floor kitchen and game room. So it's really a beautiful building, and we're just excited to have it. The other residence hall that I'll mention tonight that occasionally some first-year students will live in is Wilson Residence Hall. Wilson is a dramatically different residence hall than the LLC, but still a very nice residence hall. It is an 86-bed residence hall located right above the dining hall, which obviously Todd will be talking about a little later. So a really great location in terms of using that meal plan. The standard room type in Wilson is a double room with community bathrooms. So it's kind of a more traditional style hall, but a very nice residence hall nonetheless. There's still smart laundry on every floor. There's still large study and social lounges on each floor. It's just a much more condensed package and kind of a much more, I would say, kind of an intimate residence hall than the LLC in its size. There is a shared use kitchen on the third floor. And one of the things I always mention, because this is a really big deal, is it is the only residence hall where you have absolute total control over your room thermostat. So it's really nice because you can make it as warm or as chilly as you want. And then lastly, I'll just say that it is central to many academic buildings, Starbucks, which is important, and also the Athletic Recreation Center. So you really can't beat the location of Wilson. So I'm just going to mention a few reasons to consider living on campus. Even for those of you who aren't required to and are considering it, one of the things that I look at every year is the GPA, and I'm always very impressed about the cumulative GPA of our residents. In fall 2020, despite a pandemic semester, the average cum of students living in our halls was 3.37, which is really impressive. And we like to think that there are some advantages to academic success to living in the residence halls. We also provided flexible housing options this year, which was critical during the pandemic, and offered short-term housing and also the ability to opt out for those students who had all of their classes online. We like to say that it's kind of all-inclusive. The price tag may look high sometimes, but you also have to consider that your cable, your electricity, your Wi-Fi, your laundry, and other utilities and amenities are included in that rate. You don't have to worry about paying anything above and beyond that. And then, of course, it's a lot easier once we're back in full swing, which we truly hope we are in the fall. It's much, much easier to stay connected with the many clubs and organizations on campus. And you are right there, your steps from all the academic, emotional, and other support that we provide through many different offices and staff members. So there's lots of great reasons to live on campus, but those are 5 that I just wanted to highlight for you. And I'm just going to give a shout out to the resident advisors. They're actually the ones pictured in that photo there. And that's actually our photo from move-in day this year, which although it looked a lot different than years past, it was still a really exciting day. Okay, so a couple of things to know as an accepted student. So you're going to be filling out you're going to be submitting your housing deposit, you're going to be filling out your housing application, and then your attention may start to shift to searching for a roommate. Some USciences students enter knowing another incoming student, and that's wonderful. We do have a process that you can request one another and live together. But some students come in not knowing anyone, and they may want the opportunity, especially during the pandemic, where not as much as in person, to search for a potential roommate. And there actually is a feature on our housing website that you can do that. I'm not going to go through too many of the nuances, but essentially when you log in and complete the application, on the left-hand toolbar, you'll see a little heading that says roommate profile. And when you click on that profile, you have the opportunity to make it active and to fill out a little bit of information about yourself. And then you can actually click certain fields like what major you are, what class year you are, that would be visible to other students that are looking for potential roommates. And once you fill out that profile and click save, you can then search for roommates as well. So it's a nice little feature to connect people. I highly encourage you to consider using it if you're not sure where to start in terms of a roommate. And then if you already do know who your roommate is, you can set up a roommate group on the housing website as well. That's also very easy. You log in and look for the roommate group link. And again, you have to fill out the application in order for those links to be visible. Just a quick note on the residency requirement at USciences. So there is a 2-year residency requirement for students whose parents or guardians' permanent address is a distance greater than 30 miles from the campus. So what that means is that if you fall into that category, you are required to live on campus for the first and second year. The good news is you actually get preference for living in the Living and Learning Commons. So many students do spend their first 2 years in the Living and Learning Commons. So just a quick reference to that. And then just some important dates, and then of course we'll take any questions that you might have. June 15th is actually an early room assignment date. So if you have submitted your housing application and you have indicated a preferred roommate by June 1st, you'll actually be eligible to get an early room assignment on June 15th. Otherwise, if you submit your application by July 1st, you would know your room and your roommate sometime in July, but no later than July 15th. And then August 26th is actually our anticipated move-in day for fall 2021. So those are just some dates to keep in mind. And of course, there'll be plenty of reminders that will go out about these things throughout. So you don't need to worry necessarily about writing them down or screenshotting, but it's just something to keep in mind. All right, so that was a quick presentation and on purpose. Oops, I lost my chat box here. So I'm just going to end the slideshow for now. And
yeah, that was great, Dominic. Thank you so much. And I see that we
Sure.
do have some questions coming in. So thank you guys for submitting the questions. That is wonderful. And I think what we'll do is Todd, if you want to maybe do your slides, and then we can tackle all the questions at the end. So I'll kind of just read them out after both slide presentations are over, if that works for you guys.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Cool.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, so next we have Todd Young, and again, he is our General Manager of Sodexo Services at University of the Sciences. So it's all yours, Todd.
All right. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, and again, as you guys are doing, if you have any questions, make sure you type them into the chat or into the Q&A feature, and we will address those all live at the end of the dining presentation.
All right. Give me 1 second.
I know if I had to live on campus, I would definitely want to live in the Living and Learning Commons. I'm pretty jealous of that residence hall.
All right. Let's do that. Well, of course. Dom, sing for a minute. Because of course
You don't want that.
No? All right, here we go.
Yeah, and I think, Todd, while you're pulling up your presentation, we can address one of the questions here.
Yep.
So one of the questions that came through before, Dominic, I think you got to this portion in your presentation, was that is laundry free? So yeah, I think
Yes.
that's a good one. That's an easy one. We can knock off the list. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
knock
laundry
that
free.
one off.
All right. And it should be coming up here. I had it.
And then we can just keep going through, Dom, if you want to.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. While Todd's getting ready. So
Awesome.
it looks like, I'm assuming is it a bathroom designated to each floor? I'm assuming that's for, is that a question for Wilson?
I think it might be a question for Wilson. Yeah, because
Okay.
yeah, for you guys, as everybody learned, Living and Learning Commons, you have your own bathroom in your room. But yeah, if you want
Yes.
to talk about it for Wilson, Dominic, yeah.
Yeah, so Wilson, as I said, is a traditional style hall. So there's actually several community bathrooms on each floor by gender, and there's also a single stall bathroom that is a gender inclusive bathroom as well in Wilson. So then that is on both of the residential floors. All right, Todd, are you all set, or would you like me to keep rolling?
I believe so. Are you seeing my presentation?
I can see it, yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. I got excited. I hit the wrong button and everything got minimalized, and I got technology not savvy there for a minute.
It's all good.
All right, so we're all good. Hello, everyone. As Elise introduced me earlier, my name's Todd Young. I'm the Director of Dining Services. So my job description is I'm in charge of all the student, faculty, staff dining, student catering, and campus catering. I have a pretty good sized team that works for me throughout the campus. What we're going to go through today is I'm going to introduce you to my team. I'm going to introduce you to the units that we have on campus, give you a little bit of background and detail of what we offer to each one. We'll talk a little bit about meal plans. We'll talk about the fun stuff that we try to do. I also have some slides in here of, with the times that we're in today with the pandemic, there's a lot of COVID precautions in place that are mandated by the city of Philadelphia and the state of PA. And quite frankly, just the right thing to do to keep everyone safe within the dining hall. So we'll go through some of those precautions that we're doing as of today. And just so you know, as Dom said, we hope that we see you in the fall. We hope that you are living on campus and come visit us daily, and also hopefully that a lot of these precautions are no longer in place because we would be getting back to a little bit of normalcy. So let's get started here. So this first slide is my team. There's me. There's my catering director, Maureen Palco. She's also acting as one of our unit managers. So you would see her walking around, helping out students and, helping them guide, and shop throughout the dining halls. Cassidy McNew is our marketing manager who takes care of all the students, special events, vendor shows. Pretty much if you label it fun, hopefully you label it fun. Cassidy's the one that's behind it and kind of building it and putting it together. Chef Joe is our campus chef. So he leads a large team of culinarians on campus that are cooking real food for you. We cook real chicken, real beef, all the good stuff out there. So we're really excited about what he does. Then we have Dennis Turner, who's our retail manager. He manages our Starbucks, our convenience store, our other little cafe type shops that we'll talk about in a little bit. And then lastly is Paris. You won't see him too much. He's the money guy. He's the guy that sits back in the office and counts all the pennies, nickels, and quarters. But he's instrumental to the team, and he's part of my management team. He's just not so much face forward. But if you ever come to our offices to visit us, you'll certainly be greeted with a smile by Paris and help you with any of your needs. So the first dining hall we're going to talk about is the resident dining, which is Wilson Hall. And if you remember, Dominic talked about the Wilson residence, which is on the upper floors of the Wilson building. So down on the first floor is two locations. The first one we're going to talk about is Wilson Dining Hall, which is the resident dining hall. That's where your all-you-can-eat program is going to be at. That's where you're going to come in with your dining plan. You're going to swipe your card. You're going to come in. You're going to eat as much as you want or as little as you want. Items that we offer there, items that we offer there are a full grill. So any day you can come in, you can get burgers, you can get cheesesteaks, you can get chicken sandwiches, you can get veggie burgers. So we do offer, vegetarian fare that is cooked separately from our non-vegetarian items for it. We have a full salad bar. We have a steam bar, which is an extension of our salad bar where you can build your own and steam it to taste. We have we call it like our mini Chipotle. It's not Chipotle, but we modeled after that, where you can build burritos, tacos, salad bowls, things of that sort. We have our hometown, our traditions, which is where you can get your quick grab and go stuff where, it could be meatloaf, it could be chicken parm, it could be a number of home style meals that you're getting served there. We have our Brinner and More, which is our vegan and sometimes vegetarian fare station. That's where you're going to see a lot of your healthy eats. We feature a product called Vegadelphia, and what Vegadelphia is, it's the vegetarian version of cheesesteaks, beef steaks, crab cakes, things of that sort. We do the Impossible burgers, so all that stuff's available over there. And then lastly, we have our chef table, which is pretty much what it's called. It's chef's table. So it could be Italian week, it could be Asian flair week, it could be South American fare, it could be European, it could, it's all, all over the place. The chef does a great job of spreading it out. This venue is open from 7:15 in the morning for breakfast and closes at 8:30 Monday through Thursday. And on the weekends, including Friday, it closes at 7 o'clock. You're able to use your swipes, your DCB, credit card, debit, cash, which I'll talk about in a minute. Wilson Express is in the front of Wilson Dining Hall. It's not part of the resident dining program. It's one of our retail outlets. Inside this outlet is our pizza shop and our sushi vendor. So we have a fresh sushi vendor on site that prepares the fresh sushi daily. and offers it not only made to order if you want it, but has prepared stuff so you have quick grab and go. And he also offers it throughout campus at other locations. That is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And again, you can see on the screen, all the currency exchanges that are accepted there. Starbucks, we do operate a licensed Starbucks on campus. What I mean by license, it's just like the corporate Starbucks stores. It's not a We Proudly Brew where we just have cups that say Starbucks and we brew coffee and put it into it. It's actually Starbucks. We have to follow all the guidelines and all the policies and procedures that Starbucks holds their corporate stores accountable for. We sell all the merchandise, all the new drinks that come out. We get it. We're able to sell it. So there will be no difference if you walked in your hometown Starbucks to the Starbucks at the university. The only thing I hope that's different is our employees are smiling at you more and giving you a conversation and learning your name and really building a relationship. As you can see, our 3 or 4 employees in that picture are very personable. And the one in the middle there kind of looking like she's pressing on the counter. That's Melinda. And I can tell you now, if you're coming to US Sciences and you go to Starbucks, she will learn your name. She will know your drink. And unless you tell her you're getting something different, she almost has it ready for you before you even get to the register. So she really does a nice job with that. Again, currency, the great thing about this Starbucks is you don't have to use cash and credit card if you don't want to. You can use your DCB, which is attached to your meal plans, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And you can also purchase merchandise as well on your DCB plans. This is a picture of the McNeil Science and Technology Building, or I call it STC. A lot call it STC. Inside here, we have our coffee lab, which is basically just a little break kiosk where you can get coffee, some sandwiches, paninis pressed, smoothies, candies, bagels, muffins, just a whole assortment of things just for a quick, you're leaving class, you need a quick bite to eat. You could, again, use your meal swipe. There's meal swipe exchange, meaning you can eat there for breakfast rather than going to the dining hall. Use one of your swipes there. You can use DCB, cash, credit card, and debit. Open from 8 o'clock to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then lastly, we have Tasty Drake's, which also has a Yella's inside of it. So this is our campus convenience store. So any of your convenience items that you may need, it might be toiletries, it could be food, it could be a box of Pop-Tarts, it could be spiritware, anything that you need. It could be a bottle of soda, bottle of water, fountain beverage. It's just like walking, if you're from the area, it's just like walking into a Wawa, just not a Wawa. And you can pick up, any of your convenience items. You can pick up any of your US Sciences spiritware. You can use your DCB, which is attached to your dining plans on it. You're not blocked from using it for non-food items. And inside Tasty Drake's, we have a concept called Yella's, which is kind of like the delis or sandwich areas that you see in the convenience stores, where we have a kiosk, walk-up kiosk. You can order a sandwich. They make it for you. You go pay for it, come back, get it, and then go on your way with it. And those hours there, they open up at, I think 7:30 in the morning, and they close during the week at 11 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock on the weekends. I believe Sundays 11 o'clock as well for it. And as you can see on the hours on the screen, Yellow is slightly different because it doesn't have the same hours as the convenience store for you. So the dining plans that I talked about for first and second year students that are living in the LLC or the Learning Living Center or Wilson or the Wilson building, you're required to have a dining plan. Everyone that is required to have a dining plan is put on the default plan, which is the 11 plan. And what that means is you have 11 meals a week to use, and they're from Friday to Thursday. And then every Friday you get a new 11 meals. Any unused meals get expired. They don't carry over, so you can't bank meals. It's use it or lose them. And then you also have $625 that's attached to your account. Those $625, the purpose why it's so high, if you're familiar with friends or family that have gone to college ahead of you, usually it's like around $75 to $150. The reason that it's so much here at US Sciences is that in our all-you-can-eat program, all you can eat is just breakfast and dinner. And then on the weekends, brunch and dinner. So Monday through Friday for lunch, it's a la carte. So you're going to come in, you're going to shop, you're going to buy your burger, you're going to get a combo meal, you're going to purchase whatever you want, you're going to go to the register, and you're going to use your dining dollars to pay for that food for it. And I would say the average price, depending on how much you eat in the dining hall for lunch, is anywhere from $5 to $8.50. It could be less, it could be more, depending on your eating habits for it. But again, that $6.25 can be used anywhere. You can buy $600 worth of spiritware if you want to. I don't recommend it, but you could. You can use it at Starbucks. You can use it with, for friends, for family, for guests. All these plans do also come with guest passes, so you can use them for when your parents come to visit or friends come to visit, so you get them in the dining halls. You can upgrade your dining plan if you know you're going to be on campus pretty much 100% of the time. We have the ultimate plan, which is 14 meals, and you get $700 for spending dollars or dining dollars for it. We also have plans that are available for our commuters or our residents that live on campus, or apartment dwellers just off campus that still want a dining plan. Anyone can buy any of these 11 plans, ultimate plans. There is a 5 plan available, a 3 plan available, and then we have dining dollar only plans, which are available for non-first or second year students. They come in the equivalent of $850, $450, and $250. And if you're interested in any of those, it is the auxiliary services office that handles all the transactions. And I answer questions, but she's also the question taker and answerer for all the meal plan questions. Her name is Mary Policastro. She's the assistant director of auxiliary services, and you can see her contacts on the bottom of the screen there. So if you're saying, hey, I'm going to be here, I know I'm going to be on the 11 plan, but I think I want the ultimate plan, you can contact Mary at either email address, and then she can work with you on upgrading that plan for you. And then there'll be other opportunities throughout your any of orientations or welcome back weeks or coming to school next year. I believe 2 to 3 weeks after the semester starts, you have the opportunity to also change your plans. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to make those changes. So some of the COVID-19 precautions that we put in place, we've increased all of our hand sanitizer stations. Everything's labeled. No one can walk in there and say, I didn't know I had to wear a mask. No one can say, I didn't know I had to practice social distancing 6 feet apart. We have everything appropriately labeled. We have sneeze guards and plexiglass, not only protect you, but our employees. All of our self-service stations all of our self-service stations right now are now grab and go. So what we're aiming to get back to is where you can come in and build your own salad and build your own sandwich and things of that sort. Right now it's being done for you just for precautions for the COVID-19. Single-use utensils. So right now we're not using any washables, so everything is disposable, recyclable. We're not using styrofoams and things of that sort. We're using all either compostable, which we do practice on campus. We compost all of our food waste. So all that stuff, is properly disposed of. We have order ahead policies. So God forbid you're sick, not feeling well, you don't feel comfortable. We do have policies in place and programs in place that you can order ahead, have someone pick it up for you, pick it up in a designated area, or in some circumstances, if you qualify, having it delivered to you. There's thorough cleaning. Right now we're at a 50% capacity of our dining hall. So we can have about 120 students at a time practicing social distancing in our dining halls. That's in our main dining hall. It's obviously less in our smaller venues. Some of the extra services that we offer, we do. I'm currently in the process of hiring a new dietitian, but we will have a dietitian on campus in the fall, hopefully. And this person, he or she, will be focusing on student nutrition. Athletic, athletes that want to watch their intake. Students that just want to, watch their weight, gain weight, lose weight, just want to eat healthier. Allergens, disorders, anything. This dietitian is there for the students to use, free of charge. It's part of the program, and she can do group consultations if people are comfortable with it, or they can certainly be private one-on-ones, either live or virtual, whatever however the student's comfortable with that. And there'll be more information coming out to the students in the upcoming with the upcoming fall semester coming. Some of the special events, I mentioned Cassidy, our marketing director. He does a lot of great things. This is just a small list of what we have done. We do steak night. We try to do some fresh grilled steaks every so often. We try to feature cities around the not only North America but throughout the world of some of their cuisines, the exotic eats. The chef does virtual cooking demos. We do them on Instagram. We do them live. There's a nice little kitchen in the LLC that we do some events down there where we have students come, watch, and eat. And again, these are all part of the program. These aren't, we're not charging you money to come in. We celebrate National Food Days. We celebrate as many holidays as we can. Starbucks contests. We do Instagram things, Twitter things, all kinds. Student Appreciation Day. We bring food trucks on campus. So just to, kind of give you a little bit of flavor, no pun intended, since I'm the food guy. We try to make it as fun as possible. We love to listen to the student. If you have ideas, if you have mom's favorite recipe, hey, if we can make that recipe and blow it up to feed 500 people, we'll do it. Share it with us, and there'll be communications, by the fall that tells everyone how they can do that and how they can kind of give suggestions. And onto the suggestions. Here's the most important page of the presentation. All of the context, all of the ways that you can communicate to us and we can communicate to you. We do culinary councils where we have members of the student body and the SGA participate with meetings with myself and my team, and we talk about what we're doing, the good, the bad, the indifferent. We talk about everything. We have My D-Text, where if you sign up and there's instructions there, and I know this is being recorded, so you'll probably have access to it, or take a snapshot with your phone. If you sign up to that, you'll get all of our notifications of all the specials. So there might be a free drink program going on, which comes out by D-Text, and you're only going to get it through that. So you have to be part of these things to get, to hear about what's going on special. Then all of our contacts there on the right-hand side for all of our, these are the things that have outdated me because I'm getting to be an old guy now, I hear. But the Twitter and the Instagram and the Facebook and that World Wide Web thing. There's all of our contacts, so you can easily look us up and see what we're doing. But with that, I want to thank you. I'm going to turn it over. Hopefully there's some questions. And Elise.
Great. Thanks, Todd. That's wonderful. And yeah, that presentation always makes me want to get back to campus and eat on campus. So that's great. Yeah, and thank you both so much for your presentation. So we have a lot of questions in the Q&A. So this is wonderful. So I'm just going to get right to it. And what we'll do is if you have questions, please type them into the Q&A. I'm just going to go ahead and read through one by one, and I'll, whoever's question it is, you can answer that. So, okay, so here we go. So is there an option for single occupancy dorm rooms with private bathrooms?
So there is no standard option for a single room. Our standard option in the LLC is a double room with private bathroom. We do offer single bedrooms in the LLC for students who qualify for a student accommodation. So if you are someone who thinks that you may qualify for some sort of housing accommodation for various reasons, feel free to reach out and we can connect you to Caitlin Martin, who's the program coordinator for student accommodations.
Thanks, Dominic. How do we make a roommate profile? Do we need an official USciences email to sign up?
Yeah, so the roommate profile is actually through our housing website, not the USciences website. Elise, I'm not sure, would I be able to share my screen for just one more second? I actually have eResLife pulled up.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you want to just look here really quickly, everybody can see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you log into eResLife, the first thing you need to do is actually complete your housing application, because this won't show up for you if you don't. But to set up a roommate profile, you actually go to the left-hand toolbar here where my arrow is. You click My Roommate Profile. This little page pops up. You check this box that says Turn on My Profile. You can actually upload a photo that is one of me running. And then you can write your name in here, an elevator pitch if you want to, some more information. There's some optional fields. There's also, as I mentioned in my presentation, that there's some profile fields here. And you can control who sees it. So you don't have to show all of these things to a prospective roommate, but you could choose to include all of these things, everything from your lifestyle preferences to your class year, or if you're an NCAA athlete and things of that nature. And then down here, you can indicate how you want to be contacted by email, by phone, by Instagram, whatever your preference is there. And then you just click save. So it's actually pretty easy. If you have any trouble at all, it is a newer feature that we've been working with. So if you have any trouble at all, you just let us know and we'll help you work through that.
Thanks, Dominic. And in the chat for everyone, I put the link for the eResLife account so that you can check that out. And just to reiterate, you don't need your USciences email address. This is going to be the email that you created for your application. So you're going to use that same email address to create your housing account. If you have any questions about that, you can connect with your admission counselor and just let us know. Okay, so are we able to move in earlier than August 26th?
So the official move-in date is when the vast majority of students would move in. However, there are exceptions to that. For example, when athletics programs begin their preseason, there are times where athletics will move in a week early. But generally speaking, most, if not all, students move in on the dedicated move-in day.
Thanks, Dominic. Todd, you look lonely over there. I'm going to give you send some questions your way now. Okay, so is the dining package available for commuters? I think this may have come in before you addressed that.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Commuters are available to purchase any package that they'd like that's available.
Perfect. And another question for you. Do you serve halal meat?
We do. We don't have a dedicated halal concept or food service station, but the chef does a good job with integrating in halal certified products.
And Todd, we didn't get this question, but this is something that I get a lot from students. What about if a student has a dietary restriction or allergies? How do you handle that?
Well, the university has a process in place, which it goes through the office accommodations. So if it's something that's basic, where it's just navigation through the dining hall, you can certainly contact my team, the dietitian, and we can help you out there. If it's something with an exception or an exemption, where you're looking for some kind of modification to the dining plan or something like that, that has to go through the school, through the office accommodations, and then once that process is satisfied, then they send you over to the dining hall, back to the dietitian, and then we kind of work on what the exception was and work with you from there.
And Todd, can you tell everyone a little bit about the special cutting boards and the things for those with allergies?
Yep, we have I call them the purple cutting kits. So every station has like a little toolbox. It's purple. That when somebody comes up and self-identifies as a person with an allergen, we take special care with that, and we have separate cooking utensils. We have separate cooking pots, pans, things of that sort. We open up the kit. It has the purple cutting board in it. So if you're somebody with allergens, the first thing I would always say is meet with us, introduce yourself, let us know. You know, we're not going to run around and advertise you as the peanut allergen person or the lactose allergen person, but we do want to know, because our chef can help you out. We can help you shop. We can help you feel safe, and our doors are wide open. So if you're not sure about something, please ask, and we'll take you right into the kitchen and show you the ingredients, show you the recipe, show you the labels of the stuff, and whatever it takes to make you feel comfortable, because that's ultimately our goal, is to have you leave the dining hall in the same condition as when you came in, except a little maybe fuller.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, so Dominic, back to you. Is there a difference in cost depending on whether you live Wilson or LLC?
Yes, Wilson is roughly about $300 cheaper per semester than the Living and Learning Commons.
Is the roommate search on the USciences website? So I put a link after the eResLife account. I also put a link in for the deposited student next steps page. This has a lot of really detailed information about the next steps for not only creating your housing account, but also the instructions about how to do a roommate search and creating your roommate group. So definitely check that out if you haven't done so already. All the instructions are on that page. So I'm gonna dismiss that question. Okay, so question about the honors program. If a student was accepted to the honors program, are they required to live on the honors wing?
Great question. Honors students do not have to live in the honors wing, which is the 6th floor, west side of the building. And you are not required to live with another honors student. So it's really a choice. If you do opt into the honors wing, just know that you would be placed on the 6th floor.
Perfect. Okay, does sending in your roommate group early by or before June 1 give you a better chance of getting your first choice room?
Yeah, so I think really the important thing is submitting your application early. But the earlier you submit your application and set up your roommate group, the better the chance you get of getting the better the chance you have of getting the building that you want. Regarding the specific room, you actually don't go in and select a specific room. We do room assignments, but you would gain preference towards your building the earlier you get your application in.
Perfect. And I just want to second that. So typically the Living and Learning Commons is the first building to fill up, and we can guarantee housing on campus for the first 2 years for first year students. But if you are the kind of person who wants to live in the Living and Learning Commons, which I would too, we encourage you to get your enrollment and housing deposits in sooner than May 1st. And you can always check in with us too if you're still making your decision and you want to know if there's still spots left in the LLC. You can always check in with us as well.
Of course.
Okay, so are there private bathrooms for LLC for each room or private to each student?
So it's one per room, so you would be sharing with one other student within that room.
That's amazing. I always say this when we're talking about this building, but I am jealous of that residence hall. That's amazing. As you look at other campuses, you probably will recognize that not a lot of other schools offer that. So we are very happy to be able to offer that option for students. Okay, so how do we activate our housing counselor? I think we've addressed that a couple of times. That may have come in before we talked about that. If you have further questions, let us know. Okay, so is there a survey that we can take for personal preferences that'll match us with a potential roommate? So I think we covered that, but Dominic, you want to talk about that again? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. While you're filling out your application, there's a series of questions that you'll complete, and that actually is what can help match you to other roommates.
Perfect. Is there a micro fridge included with the room?
There is not, but micro fridges are available for rent through a third-party vendor that we work with called Microfridge, and we would share all that information with you probably around orientation.
Perfect. And I think usually I get a question about the cost for that. I think it's $100 for the rental, or maybe $200 for the rental for the year, I think.
For the year, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so if you split it between you and a roommate, it would be $100 for the year for that. Okay, so Todd, I'll throw one over to you. Is the meal plan per year or per semester?
They're per semester.
Perfect. Okay, another question about meal plans. Can students or parents add dining dollars if we run out?
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
also,
I was just going to say that you can, those contacts for the auxiliary services office, you can contact them. I believe there's an online portal you can make payment on, and there's actually a kiosk in Wilson that you can go and you can make payment on as well.
Perfect. And I actually had a follow-up question from your presentation. Just in case anyone has any questions, can you explain what DCB is for everyone?
Declining balance dollars. So it's basically like a debit card. So that money's put on your card and you spend it down. You can't. We don't offer credit. So once you get to zero, you're at zero. But you have $700 or $625, or if you buy another plan with a different amount, you have that money to use throughout campus how you please. I do want to mention that I make sure my team works very closely with the students so you don't lose money, because at times throughout the year, money does not roll over to other semesters, and everything is use it or lose it at the end of every academic year. So what we do is my teams offer bulk purchasing programs. They bulk things up, they advertise it. If you need to pull a car up and we need to carry out cases of water or whatever to fill it up to pay down your DCB so you don't lose it, I would rather you get something tangible than me just get your money for it. So.
Thanks, Todd. Another question for you. Do the meals expire on a certain day each week?
Yes, they expire Thursday at 8:30 p.m. I'm sorry. Yeah, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. And they renew on Friday morning.
And then we have another question about the dining dollars. Is the dining dollars per month? But I think we addressed that. That would be per semester. So
yeah, per semester. You can spend it all in a day or spread it out all semester.
Perfect. Okay, so 2 questions here. Okay, so I can actually, yeah, well, I guess I'll say this out loud. So the questions were if a student can bring a pet fish. And the other question is, I know candles aren't allowed, but are wax warmers okay?
Yeah, great questions. Actually, we're working on the pet fish thing because we currently the residence halls, there's no pets allowed other than approved emotional support animals. But we are going to take a look at the pet fish situation because I think that would be reasonable to have. But as of right now, it is prohibited, but we will see if we can change that before the fall. And then as far as candle wax warmers, I would say at this point, the likelihood is no, that would probably fall under the prohibited item just for fire safety.
Okay, let's see. So we had a question about the game rooms in the residence halls. So what is in those, and tell us about those, Dominic.
Yeah, so in the Living and Learning Commons, it is on the bottom floor. It's really right now just a ping pong table there. There are also a number of TVs though, and what you'll see is a lot of times students will bring down like a Nintendo Switch or like another video game system, and they'll hook it up and play together as a group. In Wilson, there is a game lounge that has a ping pong table and a foosball table. And then we also have a pool table in one of our other residence halls, also, but that's an upperclassman hall.
Perfect. Okay, so we had another question about meal plans. Under the different meal plans, what qualifies as a meal?
So just so what qualifies as a meal? Like for a meal swipe,
I would think, yeah, just during the week, I think just generally like we could talk about, breakfast and dinner and then lunch. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. I'm hoping I'm going to answer the question, but your meal swipe that you have, you swipe at the front and you can come in and eat as much as you want. So to define what the meal is, it's really what you choose. You can come in and swipe and get a bowl of cereal and an orange juice and that's it. Or you can get an omelet, an egg sandwich and pancakes and come back and get more if you want. It's really unlimited. The only restrictions, which you can still buy as much as you want, but you're paying for it a la carte, is at lunchtime.
Perfect. Thanks, Todd. And then there was another question clarifying the meal plan doesn't include lunch. So I think you addressed that. It does include lunch, but it's just offered in a different format.
Yeah,
So that would be
yeah. Those meal swipes are turned into dollars and put onto the account.
Perfect. And then another question, can you repeat what happens on the weekends? What are the meals options?
Weekends are brunch and dinner. So like students, the employees like to sleep in a little bit on the weekends. So they, I believe lunch starts around 10:15, 10:30 on Saturday and Sunday and runs to 2:30 in the afternoon. Then we close down for a couple hours to get ready for dinner. And I believe at 4 o'clock, dinner opens to 7 o'clock. And that's on Saturday and Sunday. And that's
Perfect.
all you can eat. All you can eat all weekend.
Perfect. And yeah, I know our staff has definitely had the brunch before and it's wonderful on event days. Okay, so another question about dining. This individual has a son who's one of the most picky eaters ever. This is what it says in the thing. I'm just concerned that his food options will be very limited.
Well, the picky eaters are the ones that we would love to have conversations with. We'd like to understand better what their food likes are, and we have so many options, so much variety in all of our dining facilities that we really need to have those individual conversations with the students if they're willing and able, so we can steer them in the right direction and make sure that they're getting their square meals when they come down with us.
Perfect. Okay, so I will take this question. What is the deadline to submit your deposit to secure a room in LLC for incoming freshmen? So that's a great question. Our priority deadline for reserving your spot in your program and also in the housing on campus is May 1st. As we mentioned before, Living and Learning Commons is offered on a first come, first served basis. So if we've received the number of deposits that we have space for in the Living and Learning Commons before May 1st, then you will still have a spot on campus. But if you want to secure living in the Living and Learning Commons, we encourage you to submit your housing deposit before the May 1st deadline. Like I said before, you can always check in with your admission counselor and we can let you know what the space is looking like a little bit later in April, but we do encourage you to do that sooner than later. Typically during our March accepted student day, we're usually still able to guarantee that you'll be living in the Living and Learning Commons, but we always just encourage you to check in with us and just make sure that you're getting your deposit in early if you know that you want to live on campus, especially for the Living and Learning Commons. Okay, so let's see, there's another question about the roommate profile section. So how will the questions in eResLife roommate profile section be answered so other potential matches can see it?
Yeah, so that profile actually links to your application. So when you complete your application, you'll select your preferences. And then if you make those fields visible in your profile, when somebody searches for you, they'd be able to see those types of preferences. And similarly, like if you search for someone else and they've checked off that their preferences should be visible, you'd be able to see like when they go to bed, how often they plan to go home for the weekends, study habits, study environment, things like that. So it directly links to the questions you fill out in your application. All you have to do is click to either make it visible or to not make it visible.
Perfect. So we have another question. It says, do all second year students get a room in Wilson, or are they allowed to stay in the LLC for second year students?
We actually, I would say a lot of our second year students stay in the LLC. So it's by no means a 1 year and you're pushed out of the LLC. So quite a few students will stay for the second year. And then as you, when we do returning student housing in the spring every year, you'll kind of see the full slate of options, which would include Wilson and potentially even Olsol Residence Hall.
Perfect. So Todd, another question for you. This person is just following up on the halal meat question. The question says, it sounds like it's not an option. What are the meal plan options in that case? Can we pick the option for a commuter student as a residential? So I'll give that one over to you.
Again, that would come down to an accommodation or an exception to the first or second year meal plan requirement. And that would have to go through the accommodations office under either religious or dietary or allergen type related for it. And then the school would make the determination and then we would follow that guideline.
Perfect. And if you have questions, if you're a parent or a student in this session, if you have questions about that, any follow-up questions, you can reach out to the admission counselor, your specific admission counselor. We can tell you who to talk to. So we'll get you in contact with who you need to get in contact with. So a question about if we already submitted our deposit, are we guaranteed to get into the LLC? So I'm happy to take this one. If you've already submitted your enrollment deposit and your housing deposit, then yes, congrats, you're in the LLC. So yes, you're good to go. And like I said, if you have questions moving forward about getting into the LLC, just reach out to your admission counselor. But just to confirm, if you submitted your enrollment and housing deposits, then you are guaranteed LLC for next year. And you can actually start getting, you can get started doing your housing account now. It's already open and ready for you to get started with that. Okay, so Dominic, a question for you. What supplies, scroll down here. What supplies do you recommend freshmen to bring for their residence hall?
Sure. So we actually do have a kind of a what to bring document that we'll share with you eventually. Here's what I would say in general. I would approach it as, really focus on the necessities for yourself, the items that you're actually going to use. A lot of students will try and imagine every single thing they may need. And so they end up piling a lot of unnecessary items into the room. I always say kind of pack light initially and just bring your necessities, things you plan on using frequently. If you're a coffee drinker and you need to have coffee, bring that single serve Keurig with you because that'll be an essential item for you, but somebody else may not necessarily need that. So pack light, we will send a list of recommended items, but it is strictly recommendations and we don't want people going through that as if it's a checklist and thinking I've got to bring single one of these things.
That would have been helpful advice for me when I moved into residence hall. Okay, a follow-up question to that actually related. Are TVs allowed in the residence hall rooms?
Yeah, we hope you bring them. In fact, there's a really good cable package in the LLC that you can hook right up to. So absolutely, bring your TV. A lot of students will choose to bring a TV and put it on their dresser. There's a lot of different room, whether you put it on your desk or your dresser, there is room to put a TV in your room.
Perfect. And another follow-up question about the rooms. Would candles be allowed for religious purposes?
Honestly, we have not encountered that yet for that. And, our fire safety guidelines is that we prohibit candles, but I would like whoever submitted that question, if you would be willing to reach out to me after this, I would be really happy to look into that for you in regards to a religious accommodation for candles.
Thanks, Dominic. Okay, so Todd, this one's for you. Does the dining menu change during the holidays?
Yeah, the menus change. The menus change daily, weekly. There's different specials for the holidays. Yes, there's as long as we're open, the menus are changing frequently.
And also, are you allowed to take meals outside of the hall, the dining hall, the different dining locations?
No, yeah, absolutely. With the all you can eat though, once you leave, it's not, you can't go out and then come back in, go out, come back in. So it's all you can eat while you're in the building. Once you leave the building, then you're done for that meal period.
Perfect. Okay, so Dominic, this one's for you. So what are the restrictions with having stuff on the walls in the residence halls?
Yeah, so we do allow you to hang some things on the walls. What I will say is what you want to use are either thumbtacks or blue tape to hang items. Anything that would require mounting would be discouraged because you would cause some damage to the wall that would likely incur some damage charges. But if you're going to hang photos and things like that, or posters, you're certainly welcome to do that. And again, the recommendation would be thumbtacks and blue tape because they do very, very minimal damage or no damage at all to the walls.
Perfect. Okay, so we had another question. It says, if you submit by June 15th, 2021 for housing, can you choose to live in LLC? So yeah, Dominic.
Yeah, really, as we've kind of expressed earlier, the earlier you get your application in, the better. If you've deposited already, you're guaranteed to get in there. And if you deposit soon, you're also going to be guaranteed to get in there. So the best course of action is to do that. Now, if you do submit an application in May or June, it's still possible you could get into the Living and Learning Commons, but in years past, it's been pretty full by our priority deadline. So we would just kind of recommend, if there's nothing holding you up, to submit that deposit sooner than later.
Perfect. So Dominic, is there a difference between the communities at the Living and Learning Commons?
Not too much. We right now, next year, our plan would be to have an honors wing, and we typically do have an athletics wing. We have explored some themed communities in the past, but as of right now, our plan is to go with an honors wing and likely an athletics wing. The rest of the communities are really just mixed. There is a floor on the 6th floor. The other wing aside the honors wing is usually primarily upperclassmen students.
Is there a room cleaning service for LLC?
That's a great question, actually. You are responsible for cleaning your own room, but housekeeping cleans every common space in the building, keeps every common space in the building maintenance. But within your own room, you would need to clean up for yourself.
Perfect. And I'll take this question. Is student parking available? So that's a great question. So if you are commuting to campus, then you have the option to obtain a parking pass. If you're going to be a residential student on campus, we typically don't offer the option for residential students to have a parking permit on campus. You really don't need a car. And we actually encourage you not to bring your car just because it can be a little bit more of a hassle than it's worth. But if you have a specific reason that you may need a car on campus and you're a residential student, you can let us know and we can definitely work with you. So just reach out to your admission counselor if you're a student who's in that situation. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so is there housing for 3rd and 4th year students if we wanted to live on campus all 4 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Every year we would have U3 and U4 students, and in fact, we occasionally have graduate students that still live on campus with us. So absolutely, we'd love for you to stick around as long as you'd like to.
Perfect. And we had another question about COVID and how we handled living on campus this year. So will students still use the rooms and physically go to class even during the pandemic?
That's a great question. Obviously, this year was a very unique year. A lot of things at USciences, like everywhere else, was virtual. We did open up our residence halls, but we certainly changed quite a few policies to obviously keep everybody safe. So the answer to it would be, we would plan to be open like we are right now. However, we did restrict some visitation. We have lounge capacities. We have obviously requirements to wear masks outside of your room. And so there was a number of different things. We also have quarantine housing on campus for those individuals who are exposed or who test positive and aren't able to travel home to quarantine or isolate. So we made a significant amount of changes in preparation for COVID. And if we have to continue that for this fall, we would do so. Although I will reiterate that our hope is strongly that we'll be getting as close to normal as possible for this fall.
Absolutely. So Dominic, I'm just going to fire off a couple questions to you really quickly about the housing. So what size TVs are allowed, stand only or wall mount?
There's not really a maximum amount, but we would certainly recommend the stand because the wall mounts do a lot of damage to the walls. If you wanted to ask me, for a recommendation, I would say probably something like a 32-inch TV would fit just fine. If you get a little too big, like 55, 60 inches, you might have a little bit of a harder time kind of positioning it in the room.
What sizes are the beds in the LLC, just for buying sheet purposes?
Oh, that's a great question. So I believe a standard twin sheet would fit, but to be safe, a better option would be to do like the XL sheets. They just fit better.
Perfect. So are the rooms in the LLC locked with 2 keys provided to the two students who live there?
Actually, it's all card access. So you don't have to worry about fumbling around with keys or losing keys. It's really nice. Your card and your roommate's card are the only ones that are coded to your room, and your cards also swipe you into the building.
Perfect. And Is there an option where students can find the dimensions of a room for LLC or Wilson?
Actually, we do have a really good document for the LLC especially. So what I can do, I don't have that handy right now, but at least I can work with you offline to make sure that we can get that available for students. We did a number of measurements last year of the closet spaces, the area under the bed, pretty much everything. So we're happy to share that.
Perfect. And then a related question, besides beds and drawers, what else is provided in the residence hall when you arrive?
Yeah, that's great. So furniture wise, you're pretty much covered. You have your bed, obviously, which can lower and raise. So if you want to raise it to store some things under your bed, a lot of students do that. In the living and learning commons, you're provided with 2 stackable dressers each. So they're 2 drawers each. They can either be placed under the bed separately, or you can stack them up somewhere else in the room. There's also a nightstand, a desk, and a desk chair. And then in the LLC, you get a closet space as well. So we pretty much got you covered for the furniture.
Perfect. And I can take this question, is the LLC available for all majors? And yes, absolutely. Anyone is eligible to live in the LLC. Yes. Okay. So then there's another question about the wall hanging or command strips. Okay for hanging things on the wall.
So typically I would say yes, but honestly, command strips are a little dicey that we found with the paint in the building. If they're not taken off exactly correctly, usually there's some paint damage that occurs. So to avoid that, we usually suggest not to. They're not prohibited, so you can take your chances, but it's just a fair warning.
Perfect. Okay, so and I know we are over time, so I think we'll take a couple more of the questions that we got in the Q&A. But if you have additional questions, please make sure that you connect with your admission counselor. This is wonderful, and we're so happy to see all the engagement with this session. So if you have questions, please let us know. But we'll try to go ahead and tackle just a couple more of these questions here. Okay, so I saw a question about the USciences Target Night. Is that true that there is a Target Night? So Dominic, do you want to address that one?
There usually is. Now, I can't say what their plans are for Welcome Weekend this year. That's a separate office, but there usually is, pre-pandemic, there was always a trip to Target during Welcome Weekend, which was always fun.
Absolutely. Okay, so there was a question about any surrounding stores or restaurants that take money associated with the school. So no, so anything that is associated with their dining plan, it's going to be on campus. So the Starbucks is a wonderful thing. We have the licensed Starbucks, as Todd had mentioned. You can use your dining plan with that. But in terms of other stores and locations, we don't have any partnerships at this time. So your meal plan would pretty much be used just for the university meal options and meal locations. Okay, so there's a question, if one roommate is guaranteed housing in the LLC and the other is not, could they both live in LLC if they select each other?
We do our best to make that happen. The one caveat to that would be is if somebody submits their application, let's say, July 12th, and we're already full, and they request somebody that submitted before the priority deadline, that's a little bit more difficult for us. But more often than not, we're usually able to make that type of thing work.
Perfect. Okay, so I think maybe this person jumped in a little bit late, but can we bring our own fridge?
You can bring your own fridge. You just can't bring a micro fridge. So you can bring a fridge up to 3.1 cubic feet. So it's enough to kind of store some of your own drinks and stuff. And then we also have the micro fridges for rentals.
Perfect. And are you able to raise the beds?
Absolutely. They raise pretty high. I don't know the exact height off the top of my head, but you can fit quite a bit of things under the bed for storage.
Perfect. Okay, so we are almost at the end of our questions. So again, thank you so much for submitting all these questions. This is wonderful, and I'm so happy to see all the engagement here. So we had a question that says, I think this individual might be going through the housing application right now. What does it mean if you have any special considerations for placement in the housing application?
Typically, that just refers to like a student accommodation. So you think you have some sort of disability, or there's a mental health concern that would result in you requesting a specific accommodation from the university, then you can indicate it there. But to be honest, the best thing to do is to, if you have questions about that, is to reach out directly to either my office or the program coordinator for student accommodations to talk through that.
Perfect. Thanks, Dominic. And then looks like one last question for each of you. So is there going to be double occupancy in the residence halls without COVID vaccination during the fall session?
Yeah, actually, there was a lot of talk about this year. And while we did have a number of students in single rooms, we still had double bedrooms this year. I will say the majority of those students likely chose each other. So there was an understanding there and a prior relationship with the roommates, but we did have double rooms on campus this year. We had great success this year with limiting so far COVID issues on campus when there was an exposure that popped up. Our staff and SHAC acted quickly, and we did not feel like having double rooms in any way contributed to a significant rise in case counts or anything of that nature. So our plan for the fall, if we do still have to follow the same script, we would still prepare to have some double bedrooms on campus.
Thanks, Dominic. And Todd, I'll give the last question to you. So one last question is, what is meant by the meal plan expires on Thursdays?
The weekly allotment of dining swipes. So if you're on the 11 plan, you have 11 swipes to use throughout the week. And if you're on the ultimate plan, which is the 14, you have 14. If you have any left at the end of dinner on Thursday night, they expire. Friday morning, you'll get 11 brand new ones and 14 brand new ones, whichever plan you're on.
Thanks, Todd. And I think one last thing, Todd, if you don't mind, would you be able to put your email address in the chat? We had a question about if you could just explain the dining plan again, but I don't know, if hopefully we maybe covered that question in the subsequent questions that we got, but if any individuals have questions about the dining plan, you're more than welcome to reach out to Todd or also to your admission counselor. We can certainly help you with any questions that you have. So yeah, I think we tackled all the questions. So, Todd, Dominic, thank you both so much for your time. This was wonderful. And
You're welcome.
I hope all of our participants got a lot out of it. If you have additional questions, like I said before, please let us know. And if you haven't already, we hope that you pick USciences for your fall semester. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, and for any of you still in the session here, Todd's email address is in the chat. So if you have questions about the resident or about dining plans, you can connect with Todd. Okay, and we're going to be closing our session in just a moment. Like I said before, if you didn't get your questions answered, if you have additional questions, just make sure you reach out to your admission counselor and we can make sure you get the answers to your questions.